Hi friends, welcome to the study of Esther. Here it is. I'm so glad that you're here. I truly am thankful that you are here and welcome you, and am excited to begin this journey with you. I have to say from the get-go, this is not an easy study. And if this is your first study or your first Simply Bible study, this is not the easiest one to start with, but I am here to be your study buddy with you. We will ask questions of God together. I've had plenty of questions in preparing for this. So looking forward to it. What's the challenge here? Friends, the challenge is that in this book, God is not mentioned once, not one time. That is very unique from all of the rest of Scripture, isn't it? This book is about Him. It's for Him. It's given to us that we might know Him. But here is a book of the Bible where He is not even mentioned once. But friends, I think there is a gift to us at the end of the study for those of us who choose to persevere to the end of the study. We get to see, we get to experience what it is to live by faith. Right? What it is to live by faith. I think this is exactly what the Jews were living, who were at the time of Esther, who were scattered amongst this great empire of Persia. This is exactly how the Jews themselves were living, by faith. And we will see evidence of that when we get to the end of Esther. So faith, friends, faith is defined by Hebrews 11:1, and we have that great faith chapter of all of these people throughout Scripture who walked by faith. And the author of Hebrews says, faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. That what we do not see is key here. That I learned it in the NIV by memory. The ESV says this: now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. I like that too. And then, good old Paul speaks to this. Let's see, can I find it? Oh, I know it's in Romans 8. Sorry, friends. Paul speaks to us. Here it is, Romans 8, verse 24. He says, for in this hope we were saved. Now, hope that is seen is not hope. All right, I love how Paul says this. Hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? Who hopes for what he sees? So we have this amazing opportunity through this study of Esther to really practice walking by faith, even in this study when we don't see the name of God professed in it. All right, I'm excited. A challenge, but friends, we are all up for the challenge, right? I just want to share with you this, like some of the previous Simply Bible studies. We will be offering daily videos. You will see me open up the Word, and you can come alongside. I'd love to be your study buddy with you in this book of Esther. I will do a day's lesson. I don't look at commentaries. I, like you, will sit down. I will make some observations. I will notice things, and there's lots of things to notice in this story. And I'll make some observations, and I'll do my best to understand it and apply it for the day with no commentaries for those daily videos. All right, so if you want to walk alongside, I'll be your study buddy in that way, and we'll kind of unpack it. You'll see me wrestle without, because I can't see God in this. A couple of things, friends, that will help us in our wrestling because we don't see God. One is the challenge that is in this book. I don't often talk about the challenges, but there is on page 38 of the workbook, there is this challenge. Where is God? This is the behind the scenes challenge to doing this Bible study. It would not hurt to practice this challenge for this study, or at least as you're going through it, to note, okay, where are the coincidences that happen in this story? Where are there reversals that take place in the story? One person falls and another becomes great, so to speak. Those are the places where we see God at work behind the scenes. Those are the places that we want to note as we study this book of Esther. That will help. So actually, the challenge of this book is meant to help you absorb, okay, how do we see a God in the behind the scenes ways that he works? And he does work with a lot of times, in my own personal life, I call them God hugs, the way that he provides when I have a need. I don't see him face to face, but I see his works. We can look for that in this book of Esther. Also, friends, this is no different than studying any other piece of Old Testament narrative, all right? And that's what this is. The book of Esther is, I would put this in the genre of Old Testament narrative, maybe even history, but Old Testament narrative. I usually give 3 rules for studying Old Testament narrative, and I want to give those to you now. Before I do, though, I just want to comment that this book of Esther, if you wrapped up Ruth with me, wasn't she awesome? I love that book of Ruth too. Ruth, the author of Ruth, told the story in such a simple way. Very few details. I mean, don't we all want a few more details for that story of Ruth? Just a few more. But the author didn't feel that was necessary, right? Versus Esther's a little bit different. Friends, we get a lot of details. We really, really do. And so I will say the passages of scripture for each day are a little longer, maybe twice as long as what they were for Ruth. We are going through 2 chapters a week in the study of Esther versus 1. Why? Because there's just so much fluff in here. There are so many details in here. You are going to see that right off the bat in Esther chapter 1. We want to, what we're trying to do is get past all of the details just to see what happens and to understand the plot of this story. All right. You're always looking for what's happening here, maybe learning some things about the characters, but what's happening, what's the plot, where's God behind the scenes. Okay, so that I hope that helps. Please don't get sucked into all of the details. Kind of scan this and make sure you're understanding the main point of what happens in this story. All right, now to those 3 rules for studying Old Testament history or Old Testament narrative. Friends, number 1, God will always be the hero. That will help us in this study. Sometimes it might feel a little frustrating in the study. You might be saying, Carmen, I don't see where he's the hero here. That's okay. We are going to persevere until the end of Esther. And I promise you, when we look back on the study, if we didn't see him throughout, I think you will see him in these little coincidences, these reversals. But I promise you, when we get to the end of Esther, you certainly, I think we all will look back and say, wow, God, that's what it looks like for you to be working behind the scenes. So just want to put that out there. That's rule number one. God will always be the hero. Number two, we read and we study this literally, right? We read literally. That's rule number two. This was a real place in history. These were real people in history, and these were real happenings. So we want to read and understand this literally. But then rule number three, we want to look for the spiritual lessons. And friends, they are all over the place in this book. There's so much to learn from the characters of this story, both good and bad, all right? We can find spiritual lessons. We can learn from all of the characters in this story. In order to do that, I just want to give us this reminder that first, we must take off our 21st century glasses and try to look at this story from as if we're living in Persia, all right? We also need to take off, and this, I'm really speaking to you if you've grown up in the church or you've done a bunch of Bible studies. We want to take off all those things that we think we know. Friend, if you've never read the book of Esther before, I'm telling you, you have an advantage here, all right? Because those of us who grew up in the church, I think most of us, we put Mordecai on a pedestal, we put Esther on a pedestal, and listen, they have some worthy things for us to emulate, but they were not perfect. They were not perfect in the ways that they assimilated into the world. I think that we will see that in this story, but we got to let go. Friends, if you grew up in the church, let's let go of everything we think we know about this beautiful, beautiful story of Esther, about this beautiful, beautiful story of how God is pouring out his grace to his people through a brave, young, orphan Jewish girl named Esther. Oh, friends, I'm so excited. Thank you for being on this journey with me. If you ever have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to ask. Other people probably have the same question too, and maybe we can address those as we go along. Oh, friends, thanks for being on this journey. I'll look forward to day one with you tomorrow.